Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back to the Sit Down Sports Edition. You know who it is. The man Andrew's in the building.
What up?
And I think you guys already know what we need to do, so I don't think we really need the intro. So let's jump right in. Let's get into it.
Let's hop in. Chargers, Raiders, Thursday Night Football. Chargers took it out!
Yeah, I picked the Raiders. You picked the Chargers.
Yeah! Justin Herbert. The Raiders are collapsing, as per usual.
As we predicted.
And they will not win a game the rest of the season.
I don't think so, not at this point. Which would be surprising because they won 8-8 the past 2 seasons. For them to go 7-9.
John Gruden, you got to start looking at how he's running that team at this point because that's not a bad football team.
No.
The defense is bad, but they're just playing bad. I don't really know if there's really any pieces that they like deeply. I think middle linebacker's probably one of them, but other than that, like the way they're playing,
it just doesn't feel like that team is structured very well.
No.
You know, I think with the Raiders, they don't know what their strength is, therefore they can't play to a strength.
Sure.
And I think it's offensively and defensively. You see, you know, it's like, you know, I think it's interesting that once. And shout out to Marcus Mariota. You killed that, bro. He had a game. That boy had a day.
Good for him.
And you just saw when Mariota came in the game how the whole identity seemed to switch. Oftentimes you'll see backup quarterbacks come in and the offense will stall out. You know, for a backup quarterback to come in and to actually play, I think, better than what they were doing prior. You know, that is kind of alarming in a sense.
I think it was a switch up, right? Mariota's more of a mobile kind of guy. Josh Jacobs can get going with a guy like that, and Mariota threw some dimes too.
Yes, he did.
I think a change of pace at quarterback helped that team a little bit. But
and he used his legs too. I'll
exactly.
say this, I'll proclaim this. I think that was Derek Carr's last game in a Raiders uniform.
You think so?
I think he's going to be a backup next year somewhere.
Okay.
I do. I think that was his last game in a Raiders uniform.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out of the draft this next year.
And on top of it, you know, now you get to see. Let's see what Marcus Mariota can do.
That's true.
Because I really do think he
was
could be a starting
quarterback.
Yeah, for the Tennessee Titans. Yep. And I mean, you look at his stats. You know, he used his arm fairly efficiently. 17 for 28, 226 yards, a touchdown in a tipped interception.
Sure.
Tipped. And then he used his legs too. 9 attempts, 88 yards, and a touchdown. That's 9.8 a clip. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You can win with that.
Absolutely, especially in the NFL right now. You got guys like Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. They're doing it now. Mariota was probably one of the earlier people in this generation that was doing that pretty consistently.
Definitely.
Now he's back in that place. So, Chargers played really well though.
They did.
Justin Herbert.
They finally got one.
Oh my God.
They finally got one of those close ones.
Sealed the deal.
Finally.
I'm happy for him. I think Justin Herbert kind of just sealed his Rookie of the Year on this game.
I would agree. Yeah.
Him or Justin Jefferson, I think, would be a really big toss-up. I think you can't go wrong picking either one.
It's quarterback predominant,
exactly.
So it's gonna be it's gonna be Justin Herbert. But yeah, it was good. It was cool to see him finally get one of those close wins. You know, he had lost 4 or 5 close ones thus far up to this point.
Yeah.
And to see him kind of run it in there, and he's like, I was in. He was like, you could hear it on the camera talking to the ref. That was funny. But that was cool.
All right, let's hop over to Bills Broncos. This was a blowout. There's really not much to say here. The Bills are a Super Bowl caliber team.
This was bully ball right here.
And the Broncos are literally just not. But one of the funny parts of this game, you mentioned hearing quarterbacks on the camera while they're playing. There was, I think it was sometime in the third quarter, the Bills were in the red zone, and they scored, got it called back, went back to the 12-yard line or something like that, got closer. Penalty on the Broncos, first down. Penalty on the Bills after they scored, backed it up again. They were in the red zone, real-time clock, probably at 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And Josh Allen at one point on one of the last ones that they scored, he goes, God, how many times you gotta score? And they ended up putting up a field goal. But I think he scored plenty in this game.
To me, it just felt like this was a classic scenario. You hear it all the time in football. We're trying to break the opponent's will. This game, it just felt like the Broncos, you just got your back broken. It just felt like you guys just couldn't hold up.
No.
You couldn't hold up, and you see it, your rookie cornerback throwing a punch at a guy who's just blocking on a quarterback dive, for no reason.
For no reason.
It's like y'all weren't gonna win this game.
No.
And again, I'll come back to. I keep talking about this a lot. I think you need to start looking at Drew Lock. Because listen, I have one really good game a year, and then every other game I suck. So it secures my position as a quarterback. I don't know how long it's going to work for.
No, I agree.
Because if you look at it, he should have had two interceptions this game that got dropped. And they were bad drops.
Mm-hmm.
So he should have gone 20 for 32, 132 yards on 32 attempts. That's not good.
No.
1 touchdown, and he should have had 2 interceptions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are after injuries, after all those players kind of get back into where they're supposed to be, there are very few holes on this roster. Receivers not a hole. Offensive line played a lot better this year.
Agreed.
Garrett Bowles should have been a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, he got snubbed.
He got snubbed.
Yeah.
He had a breakout season this year, earned his extension. Running backs, we got 2 great ones. Defense, corners when healthy. We got 2 top of the league corners. Great safeties.
Yep.
Linebackers playing well. Defensive lines playing well. What's the only position I didn't mention?
Exactly right. Yep.
I think you got to look at someone in the draft this year. The draft is loaded with good quarterbacks.
Yep.
Where like the 5th best quarterback in any other year would probably go number 1 overall.
Right.
I like Trey Lance. I think he's a guy that could fall to the Broncos. Really solid running talent. Played in the same school as Carson Wentz, so that argument of, well, what's his competition it kind of falls flat on its face. I think because in 2019 he didn't throw a single interception. I don't care who you're playing against, unless you're a D1 school playing against high school teams,
right? Obviously,
but Broncos have something to look forward to next year. You're right; they do have to figure out that quarterback situation. Mm-hmm. The Bills are crazy good though.
Yeah, the Bills are. I'll just say that real quick too. Yeah, the Bills are very good.
I think they're very easily the 2nd best team in football.
I would agree.
I think
it's handily too. I would say
absolutely.
Bills and Saints. Bills and Saints are right there. It's we'll get to the Saints in a second, but I would say those 2 teams.
Packers.
I would say Packers as well. Yep. Those 3 teams could all kind of interchange at 2nd, but I think the Bills with this kind of win, I think they really kind of asserted themselves as 2nd best in the league.
Absolutely. Let's talk about another one of those teams, Packers, Panthers.
Yeah.
Packers won this one 24-16.
Oh, real quick. We
both picked the Bills.
We both picked the Bills.
Yeah.
And then we both picked the Packers.
Yes, we did both pick the Packers. Again, not much to say about this one. Packers played well.
Score was not it wasn't indicative of what the game felt like. It never felt like the Carolina Panthers ever threatened the Packers. It just felt like the Packers are picking and choosing their spots in a sense.
It is a little discouraging to see a team only put up 24 points against a really bad defense in the Panthers.
Sure.
But let's assume this was a bad day for the Packers. They still came away with an 8 point.
And I'll say this too. I wouldn't even say it's really a bad day, right? Because if you look at the scoreboard, you would think that. But if you look at the way that they put up the 24 points, they did a lot of it on the ground, right? They had almost 200 yards running.
That's true.
Aaron Jones went 20 attempts, 145 yards with a touchdown, 7.3 average. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers, he ran 5 times, 26 yards with a touchdown, 5.2 yard carry average. So it's deceiving in the sense of it's not that super explosive game, but I think that was exactly how they wanted to play that football game. Sure. We're going to run it down your throat, and you can't stop it. We'll sacrifice points to dominate the time of possession.
It's also testing game plan, right? Making sure that if we need to run the ball consistently, we can.
Exactly right.
Obviously, Aaron Jones is not going to be a problem there. Can our offensive line hold up? Can all that kind of stuff happen? Can we run off the play action and make that thing work? Also, getting the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands as much as possible. You said he ran the ball, 5 times?
5 times for 26 yards,
Too much for my liking, especially this late in the season where your playoff slot is pretty much secured. You're going to be that. I think they will end up being that number 1 seed once it's all said and done. Just because I don't think they have a game to lose. I think the Packers will always surprise you at some point, but again, I don't really know what else to say about this game. Packers won, and the Panthers just, they're the Panthers.
I will say this: I was impressed with the Panthers' front 4 though, because they did get a lot of pressure to Aaron Rodgers, and they did get some sacks. They did put some pressure onto him, which is curious. I think the Green Bay Packers, if you're looking forward, you need to try to shore that up. Maybe there was communication issues, whatever the case may be. But I think that was another reason why the score wasn't as high as it was. Sure. Aaron Rodgers was taking some sacks. He was trying to escape, get clipped in the legs, things like that. So. And what's interesting, actually, if you look at the statistics, right, time of possession, Carolina actually won the time of possession battle by just about a minute, almost 2 minutes. Yeah. Third down conversion, Green Bay had that 41% to Carolina's 33. And then what was interesting is Carolina really kind of dominated in all aspects of the game. I think the thing that really actually kind of killed Carolina was that goal line fumble that Teddy Bridgewater had. if he scores that, we got a football game now. We got a football game, and
Exactly.
I think that was kind of, if you were to point to one thing that really kind of put the game on its head in a sense, I think that was the thing.
For sure.
I think that was the thing. So it was an interesting game.
Yeah,
it
for
was
sure.
very uncharacteristic. I want to say both sides. So I think the Carolina front four actually played pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of the Packers' offenses, particularly if you want to point in Aaron Rodgers, didn't do that Aaron Rodgers kind of thing we expect him to do.
Right.
But I think it was one of those ones.
Mhm.
One of those ones. So
I'll top over to 49ers Cowboys. This one was a doozy.
Cowboys coming in 2 times for me.
Goodness.
Come on, Cowboys.
That was a.
I picked the
I
Cowboys
picked the Niners.
again.
I picked the Niners.
Yeah.
That was a crazy game.
It's nuts.
Looking at that score, you would never think like, oh, these are two teams that it's just a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
Because characteristically, the Niners defense is better than the Cowboys by a country mile.
And usually the Cowboys offense is as stagnant as it comes. So
And you want to know why they weren't as stagnant? Guess who was starting at running back? Tony Pollard. He was at running back today.
yep.
And he ran. He ran a train on the Niners.
Yeah.
Like, he did his thing.
5.8 a clip. That'll do a job.
Come on now.
That'll do a
And I
job.
think that change of pace. I think Zeke is. Again, we talk about Carson Wentz.
Yep.
I think this is the same kind of season for Zeke, where I think it's a mulligan season where it's like, all right, well, everything kind of just went to hell in a handbasket. Offensive line was bad. You might just be tired, beaten up, discouraged.
Sure.
I don't think he had an injury designation going into this game, so I don't know. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think it was a surprise to everyone when they said he was inactive. But then Tony Pollard came in and was like, all right, fresh legs.
Mhm.
Crazy what fresh legs can do in a game like this.
See, the thing that kind of discouraged me though is that Ezekiel Elliott should be able to do that though.
I agree.
He's supposed to be your bell cow. You paid him a ton of money last season. This was supposed to be his season, right? Okay, our quarterback goes down. Okay, our offensive line is injured. Let me create opportunities for the offense, right? And unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to do that this year. And I think if you're a Cowboys fan, you have to kind of sit back and ask yourself, what do we do with him going forward?
Sure.
Obviously you don't trade him, you don't cut him yet. Give him another season and see, but you have to start kind of looking at him a little more in depth now because I think this year was a little bit alarming. If you're a Zeke fan, if you're a Cowboys fan, you're sitting there saying, what happened? Which is concerning.
There are lots of guys all the time that have, he's still young, but who have 1, 2, even 3 good seasons.
Sure.
Look at DeMarco Murray.
Yeah.
Great season. They signed him to a big fat contract. All of a sudden he's on the Tennessee Titans and then he retires.
Very
so
true.
it's very. You do have these guys. Dallas knows it. That come in, play really, really well for a few years, and then all of a sudden they drop off the slide.
Yeah.
I hope Zeke isn't one of those because the league is better when he's doing well.
Agreed.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will.
Niners, ship it out. It's just.
Yeah.
It's a mail-it-in season. It's like
it is. At this point, try to get a win or two if you can. If not, it's no harm, no foul.
Exactly.
Playing with house money.
They're talking about Jimmy G coming back. They're talking about Kelsey
Sit him
coming back.
down.
Don't even bother.
Sit him down.
It's not.
Yeah. Kittle?
Kittle. Sorry, not
No,
Kelsey.
you're good. Yeah, sit them all down.
yeah,
There's no reason for it.
Let's hop over to Seahawks football team. This game went how we thought it would, except Dwayne Haskins was starting the game
Right.
and blew it towards the end.
I didn't know he was going to be starting. I probably would have changed my pick.
Me too. They had every chance to win this game,
Yeah.
and they couldn't. And
Seattle was trying to lose this game. They
and
were. They were.
Washington very well could have, and for the exact reasons that we both picked the football team.
Yep.
Because that defense was roaring all game long, forcing turnovers, getting sacks, making Russell Wilson uncomfortable.
Yep.
But that offense just could not move beyond midfield most of the
I'll say this: when you give Dwayne Haskins 55 attempts to throw the football, he's gonna turn it over. He's just not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I would be even a little bit uncomfortable with Alex Smith having 55 attempts throwing. I would only put that in the category of a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees kind of, Patrick Mahomes kind of person, right? So 55 attempts throwing the ball, that's a lot of
And to
attempts.
only come up with 15 points out of it.
Right, and that's the thing, right? 2 interceptions, for Dwayne Haskins, that hurts.
Dwayne Haskins will be a serviceable backup for some team down the road.
I would agree. Yep, I would agree.
But it's this ain't it.
You know, I'll tell you what. If you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, are you concerned? Because I know if I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, I'm a little bit nervous now.
I think so.
Because I would say this: after Game 7, they have not been the same team since Week 7.
Actually, they've been the opposite. Right? Like that first 8-7 weeks of the season, they were tossing the ball, putting up over 30 points a game. Russell Wilson was in the MVP conversation.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden they can't put up more than 20.
They can't score the football.
They can't score, but now their defense is playing.
Right.
So which team do you want to be? Once the playoffs hit, are we going to get both of those combined? Like, are we going to get neither? Like, if I had hypothetically, if a team's football season were stopped and I had Seahawks, I'm selling.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of it. I'm buying the Bills. I'm buying the Chiefs. I'm buying even the Packers,
I'll
the
buy
Saints.
the Saints, right?
Seahawks are not. They're a team that can go up pretty much against anybody, beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody.
Yep. And this, you know what this feels like? This feels very reminiscent of the Saints the past 4 years, right? Oh, here we go again. You know, it's the same song and dance with the Seahawks. You know, it's one or the other. The only time they got both, what did they do? Went to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last time they were able to string it all together. Other than that, it's always been either an offense-heavy team or a defense-heavy team. It's never been both at the same time. And unfortunately...
And now they've been both this season.
Right.
In one season,
right.
they flipped.
So now what do you do now? You know, how do you string that together? I'm not exactly sure. But I think in order for them to make a playoff push, they're going to have to. Mm-hmm. Because this brand of football, I don't believe is going to win you games, especially with the Washington football team threatening to win, and honestly should have won, I think, by a touchdown or more.
Sure.
Touchdown to 10 points.
If you had Alex Smith,
I think Washington wins this game. I do as well. Yep.
I think they're being conservative with Alex Smith's health.
Which is smart.
I believe
Very smart.
I believe it's an ankle sprain and a calf injury or something along those lines.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the same leg that he originally hurt. Or
I think it's the opposite side, which is a classic.
Sure. Because you favor that leg
exactly
now,
right.
and now that one hurts. So it's a thing that's going to happen for him, and I think after this offseason, football team has a quarterback in Alex Smith.
I would agree. No, I think they still need to draft one. They need to get another one in the future.
Of course, you got to brew one. Alex Smith's a great guy to learn from. A guy who's got determination, who can throw the ball accurately, who's been to a championship game.
Look at the most prominent person who's learned under Alex Smith. Patrick Mahomes. Hello.
Not bad.
Hello.
Not bad.
I mean, granted, Patrick Mahomes is a once-in-a-lifetime talent.
Of course. But still, it helps you learn how to play the game of football.
Absolutely right.
Behind a guy like that.
Yep.
Let's hop over to Bears-Vikings. This
shocked me.
This was more points than I thought it would be.
This shocked me. I picked the Vikings.
I picked the Vikings as well. If you were to tell me that the Vikings would put up 27 points against the Bears, I would have told you, they must have won that game. Mm-hmm. The Bears put up more. How?
Right.
How did that happen?
Yep.
Because the Vikings didn't play a bad brand of offensive football. I think maybe they had a few turnovers, but the Bears are turnover-causing machines anyway on that defensive side of the ball.
There was only one INT per team. That was it.
They have a good defense. And Mitchell Trubisky didn't light it up either. He only had 202 yards.
No.
David Montgomery had a day, 146 yards, but Dalvin Cook had a day, 132 yards. Kirk Cousins had a better day than Mitchell Trubisky did. Mm-hmm. So really, this game comes down to when do your playmakers make plays, right?
Exactly.
And for the Bears, those plays were more prominent in the right spots.
And I'll say this too, with the Bears, the reason why the Bears won this game, and the only reason why the Bears won this game, is because they started fast.
Yep.
They jumped on them early, and they stayed on them throughout the game.
The Vikings don't do well.
The Vikings don't start quick. So if you can get a lead and hold on, it's very similar to the Tennessee Titans. Yep. Get a lead early and hold on.
Yep.
You look at what the Pittsburgh Steelers did to them. You know, they got a huge lead early, and they just held on for dear life. Mm-hmm. You know, it seems as though, and you see it a lot with run-dominant teams, they need to get out early because a run-dominant team isn't able to make up the difference quick enough.
Sure.
They'll make it up, but there won't be enough time on the clock.
Sure.
And I think that's exactly what happened in this game. The Minnesota Vikings, they were going to win this game. There just wasn't enough time on the clock. There wasn't enough time on the clock. That's exactly what happened.
Too little, too late.
Exactly right. Yep. And if you're Chicago, how do you feel if you're Chicago?
Pray. On your knees, like pray. Like you need to pray because you need a lot of things to happen for you to even have any sort of playoff momentum. Excuse me. Had a little tickle in my throat. Because now they've shown, all right, you can win some games, great, awesome. Mitchell Trubisky's playing well, granted. Their running game is more solidified. Their defense is obviously their defense. They play really well. But they're at a point where in the NFC, there's really one team to beat, and it's the Cardinals for that last spot, you know? But the Cardinals are starting to feel themselves too. I mean, they did struggle a little bit against the Eagles,
yes,
but again, Jalen Hurts, we'll talk about Jalen Hurts later. The Bears, they need to win out. Obviously, they need to go 9-7, and they need the Cardinals to lose. I believe
the next one or two
of their last few games. And I don't know if the Cardinals have a slate on there where they'll lose a game.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I'll say this: I think if I'm a Chicago Bears fan, here's what I'm thinking. I think we made a mistake. You know,
Should have benched Mitch.
Yeah, I think we made a mistake. You know, because the second you bench Mitch, you know, everything went to shit, for lack of better terminology.
Sure.
And I think if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, you're starting to ask yourself, is this offense sustainable? Is it sustainable? Not is it effective, but is it sustainable? Right? Because we look at it again, right? A team that starts slow can't be a run dominant football team.
No.
You can't be that way because again, you run into situations like this. Minnesota had lost 3 or 4 games like this year, where they were going to come back and win. There just wasn't enough time on the clock.
It is sustainable if you have a defense that can back you up.
And they don't have that. Yep.
I don't know if they've had injuries earlier in the season. I'm not aware, but that went from a top 5 defense last year to I believe bottom 20 defense this year, like down in that bottom area of the league. Which I think is what they were probably banking on going into the season.
Probably.
Which is what I thought when I picked my dark horse Super Bowl picks. I picked the Bills and Vikings. Towards the middle of the season, I still really liked the Vikings because they were playing a better brand of football. They knew who they were at this point. But that defense can't play consistently.
Nope.
I think that's got to be one of the first issues they address in the draft or free agency or anything like that. They need to pick up that front 7 good defensive talent to really back up that running game. Because if you have a solid running game and good defense, that's a great recipe for smash mouth football, and you're going to win a lot of games that way.
Definitely. Yep.
Let's hop over to Patriots-Dolphins. I thought for sure the Patriots. I never thought the Patriots were out of it. I thought they would win it this whole time. They were down. I think the Dolphins scored a touchdown and went up by a score. And my dad was like, "Well, the Dolphins beat the Patriots." I was like, "Don't worry about it. Bill Belichick."
I picked the Dolphins.
I picked the Patriots,
which hurt my heart. I didn't want to, but this is kind of what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it was just one of those things where, you know, being a Patriots fan, this is the stuff that pisses me off every single year. We always go to Miami and we drop it. Always drop it. You always fumble one in Miami, literally and figuratively. And you know, I would say this. I think it was the tale of Tua getting it done in ways that I think were unexpected, right?
Sure.
In terms of his red zone presence, you know, being able to run the football into the end zone. I don't think that Bill Belichick was expecting that out of Tua. And you look at it, he had 3 attempts for 9 yards, but 2 touchdowns.
I believe he threw his first pick.
He did. Yep, to J.C. Jackson. Yep. You know, and Tua didn't really have that impressive a day.
No.
20 for 26, good completion percentage, but they're protecting him. 145 yards on 20 completions.
The defense carried that.
And it's not hard when you have a Patriots offense that can't do anything for themselves. You know, the defense can just show up and they'll have a day.
Right.
So.
But that defense is also good as it is. Brian Flores is really coaching that team up really well. Defense plays pretty well on a consistent basis.
Identity.
And if the Dolphins are lucky enough to sneak into the playoffs, which I don't know if they will because the Ravens are tailing right behind them, it's in the Dolphins' hands.
It is.
If they win out, it's theirs, and they kick out one of the Super Bowl favorites from earlier in the season.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. But I just don't know if they can do it. I don't know what games they have coming up. Let's take a quick look because I think this is important to discuss with the Dolphins.
And I'll say this, if you're a Dolphins fan, you know, you need to be very happy with the rush attack. You're like 250 yards on the ground. That's nasty. That's nasty. And you were able to hold, New England to 117 yards in the ground, which is their bread and butter. That's also very good. That's a nice recipe. And I would say this: if you're a Patriots fan, which I am, you got to look at that third down conversion percentage at 22%. That is abysmal. That is terrible. And you look at time of possession too. Miami almost doubled the time of possession to the Patriots. Miami had 37 minutes, 26 seconds to the Patriots, 22 minutes and 34 seconds. That hurts.
So let's talk about the Dolphins really quick.
Yeah.
Their last 2 games are against the Raiders and the Bills.
They're going to drop to the Bills.
I think they'll drop to the Bills, which is unfortunate because that would put them at 10-6.
Unless the Bills sit people.
Unless the Bills sit people because they know they're getting the 2 seed. Right. They could very well do that, which I think would be a very smart
There's really nothing to win or to lose there.
And I think you could see it, now that you mention it, they could see a very similar situation long time ago. It was Jets-Bengals in week 17. I believe it was the Bengals who threw the game on purpose so the Jets would win, so that the next week they would also versus the Jets again. And then the Bengals ended up winning.
Interesting.
Something like that happened. Or it was the other way around. I can't remember which.
Right.
Bills wouldn't be too stupid to throw a game against the Dolphins so that they can verse in the next week. Because that's who they would verse.
Right.
Because it would be that week 7. That week 17, and then obviously the 2 seed versus 7 seed. That's how that would happen.
Right, yep.
But if they don't do that, they would probably go 10-6 because they
That's
would
an interesting proposition. That's an interesting proposition.
The
there.
Ravens have the Giants and the Bengals.
So the Ravens will win out. They should win out.
Right. So which would put the Ravens at 11-5, and barring some setback from the Colts or the Browns.
So Miami's going to be ousted.
Miami would be ousted.
Right, and Baltimore would take their place.
But then Baltimore would verse
the Bills.
The Bills.
Which that would be their last game.
Yeah. And but that would be a crazy good game.
That would.
Would you rather verse? Now we're talking about 2 teams that I don't even think we're talking about anymore. The Ravens. Oh, so we're talking about the Ravens and Jaguars next.
Mm-hmm.
Ravens are better than the Jaguars. So now let's talk about the Ravens.
Sure.
Would you rather? Would the Bills rather verse the Ravens or the Dolphins? I think the answer is easy. You want to verse the Dolphins.
I would agree, just because I think a rookie quarterback is easier to rattle than Lamar Jackson.
Especially in the playoffs.
Exactly.
I mean, Lamar Jackson doesn't have a playoff win either.
Sure.
I think the Bills win either game, but I think the
well.
easier win is the Dolphins, no?
And maybe not, though, because I think the thing with the Ravens that you're starting to see now is if they get beat up, they tend to quit.
Mm-hmm.
With the Dolphins, they don't quit. They're going to fight and claw all the way to the end. And I think the thing with Miami that I like more so than the Ravens is it feels like Miami has a solidified identity. They know who they are. They know what they're going to try to accomplish, and they're going to go enact that. With the Ravens, I still don't feel like they know exactly what they are when they step onto the field on Sundays. And that makes me nervous, because especially in the playoffs, you need to know what your bread and butter is, because you're going to have to depend on it at some point.
Sure.
And if there's nothing you can depend on, now you're playing the house money. It's a scary thing.
So, for the sake of, if you're a coach or a GM or an owner, do you tell your team to throw a game so you can verse that same team in the playoffs next week, or do you think that's bad juju?
I don't think you tell them you're going to throw the game.
But
just don't
put
play
in
starters.
literally all your subs. Do you think that's like a bad omen almost?
I don't think so. If the mindset's in the right place, right? Let's rest up, right? Let's get
because we have our spot solidified.
Let's get a bye week, because whether we win or lose, it doesn't make or break us. We're still in the same exact position.
Right.
So we might as well,
assuming the Bills don't lose.
Right. So let's preserve what we have. Right. There's no reason to even be out there. I don't want you to get hurt when I'm going to need you later.
Stephon Diggs is nursing an injury right now.
So you need to sit those boys down. I think they would all be on board for it, honestly.
Yeah.
Second string. Go have a day. Go have fun. Go have fun. Third string. Go have fun. I don't care. I would even say let's protect the first string and the second string, because now it's the playoffs. There is no room for error.
Sure.
You lose a game, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I think everybody's goal is to win the Lombardi Trophy. So I would like to imagine that everybody would be on board with that.
Wow, that's a really good way to think about it. An extra bye week.
It's a bye week now. It's a bye week.
All right, so we Ravens Jaguars. Ravens annihilated the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we need to say about that. Yep.
Bucks Falcons. We both picked the Bucks. Oh, we both picked the Ravens as well. Obviously.
Yeah.
Something about Tom Brady being down against the Falcons just it doesn't matter.
I saw a meme. It was like it was like Tom Brady in the Bucs uniform, and it showed the score. What was it like? 17-0.
Oh, when Tom Brady's sitting like this.
No. He was in the Bucs uniform at that point, and then there's like these people at the bottom. It's like, we've seen this script before. Oh my goodness! I'll tell you what was cool. I really liked that Tampa Bay came out, because that first half, this is the tale of two halves for Tampa Bay. They played like absolute dogs the first half. They played terrible.
Yeah.
And then the second half, they put up 21 points in the third quarter. That's nice. 10 points in the fourth quarter. It's just one of those things. I don't get why they start so slow.
Sure.
This is starting to become a pattern with the Buccaneers, where they let a team get ahead and then they try to scramble and get back into it. You face good teams like the Saints, like the Packers, like the Seahawks, like the Chiefs, teams of those nature. They're not going to really let you do that.
Sure.
And my thing is this. Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. How are you going to let Matt Ryan do that to you, man?
That's a good offense, though.
He popped up, but is it though?
It is. You got Matt Ryan, you got Julio Jones, you got Calvin Ridley.
Julio Jones was hurt.
You got Austin. Oh, was Julio Jones
yes.
hurt? All right, well,
not in the game.
You got
You had Gage in there.
I still like. That's not an awful offense.
It's not, but I'll say this.
It's a middle of the road offense.
I think that Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense made them look a lot better than what they should have been.
I don't know about
because the Atlanta Falcons have played worse teams and have looked worse.
Yeah, I don't know about the Bucs, man.
I don't either. They're not infusing me with a lot of confidence.
They're kind of feeling like. Oh, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later, because there's another team I want to compare them to, but I don't want to give any spoilers for those who missed the game last night.
Yeah, but if you're a Buccaneers fan, it's one of those things where if you're a Buccaneers fan, you need to be nervous.
Oh yeah.
You need to be very nervous, because this is not a sustainable thing.
You better hope for some kind of pickup in the next 2 weeks.
Because if the Buccaneers see the Saints at any point trying to get to the Super Bowl, they're out. It's over.
And another kind of situation with this playoff season is that you have teams on the lower level who could go against, a team like the Saints or the Packers or something like that. If I'm the Bucs, first of all, I want to verse the Packers. I don't want to verse the Saints.
Yep.
So if the Packers are the 2 seed, and the Bucs right now are the 6 seed, guess what team they're versing in the playoffs?
Saints.
Saints.
Yeah, that's not good.
After you clinch your playoff berth, or after something happens in the league, I don't know what time their game is next week or anything like that. Like, do you say all right, Tom Brady, you'll play the first half, but you're gonna sit down. We want you to relax. I want you to hang out.
Interesting.
And then maybe lose a few games and go and get the 7th seed, and then all of a sudden you're versing the Packers instead of the Saints. I don't know. Maybe that's thinking a little too far ahead. Bruce Arians ain't that smart anyway. So
no, he's not. But yeah, if you're a Buccaneers fan, you hope and you pray that you do not see the Saints. If you see the Saints, it's over. It's done. That's an awful matchup for them. You've seen it twice already.
Saints have the Bucs numbers.
Saints have dominated them. So if you're a Bucs fan, yeah, you hope and pray you don't see the Saints.
Lions, Titans. Let's hop there. Titans ran all over the Lions.
Did you see that stiff arm again, bro? It's every week he's just sunning somebody.
On one day, he's gonna stiff arm somebody and immediately give them a concussion, and then they're gonna make a new rule called the Derrick Henry rule, where your stiff arm has to already be extended
and you can't punch it. Yeah.
And you can't bam someone in the face. It's gonna happen one day. You guys can record this and count on it. ESPN, I'm talking to you. Yeah. But I mean, he's a menace. I don't know how he gets stronger towards the end of the season. He's very close to that 2,000-yard mark. I believe he's at close to 1,700 right now. All he needs is 150 per game going out to get that 2,000-yard mark.
Which is very doable.
Which is very doable for him at this point.
What, 2 games left, 150 yards? Yeah.
150 yards per
game. Right.
Yeah.
It's very doable.
The Titans are a scary football team going into the playoffs right now.
The defense doesn't scare me though. But if they don't play offensively like they're playing,
very. Ryan Tannehill had a game too. He had 5 total touchdowns.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
Snapped.
2 rushing, 3 passing, I believe.
Yep.
He's just absolute craziness. A team that can run the ball and pass the ball, I don't care how. That's one of those things where it's all right, if your running game is good and your passing game is not, you need a good defense.
Exactly.
If your passing game is good and your running game is not, you still need a good defense. If your running game and your passing game is top
You don't
10
really need defense anymore.
defense.
Yep.
All right, fire everybody. Let's save some caps.
And I will
please.
say this though, the one thing I did like about the Titans defense, even though they didn't stop points, even though they did actually,
Sure.
they generated turnovers, right?
Yep.
They generated 2 fumbles
Yep.
and they generated an interception. You can live with that. 3 more possessions for your offense, that'll do a job.
Especially the way the Titans play football. They don't turn the ball.
Right.
So winning that turnover differential,
It's all TOP
most of the
for
time
the
you win the
Titans.
game.
Yep, all TOP, exactly.
Not much else to say there.
Yeah, Lions season's over. Pack it in, get a good draft pick. Sit everybody down. It's over.
Colts Texans. This one again
Ooh.
was closer than expected.
Wow.
But again, divisional rival. It was going to happen. The Texans almost won the game 2 weeks ago, and they almost won this one too. Deshaun Watson, it hurts me every single week to watch him play
my
because
goodness.
he's getting
He
assaulted.
can't do
in the
anything
backfield.
more.
It's not his fault.
He can't do
It's
anything
just like,
more. Deshaun, ask for a trade. Come over to the Patriots. We'll take good care of you, man.
hey man,
I know Bill Belichick was eyeing you last year. You know, come on over, man. We love to have you, bro. I'll get a Deshaun Watson jersey quick too.
man, Denver is a beautiful locale. They got mountains across the range. We got a great receiving core.
No.
You got no one to throw to in New England.
Listen, we'll take
Not
care
a soul.
We'll take care of that in free season, free agency. We'll take care of that. Don't worry, Deshaun. Come on over. We'll get Will Fuller over there too for you. All right? I know that's your boy. But yeah, I'll tell you what. I just feel bad for Deshaun. You know, this has been his entire career.
Yeah.
Dude takes a 5-step drop and he literally has somebody in his suck hole every single time. Literally every single time. He literally drops back and somebody's hitting him in the suck hole every time. It's crazy. You know, it's like when your quarterback generates 373 yards of total offense, and actually no, almost 400 yards of total offense for one player, and the rest of the team, the running attack generates 68 yards, 70 yards, not even 62 yards. Yikes.
They need help.
Yikes.
They need to draft a running back this year, first or second round.
They need to get a damn line. I don't
They need,
care about
they,
running
need,
back.
they need an offensive line as
Get
well.
me linemen.
Actually, they need an offensive line to help protect him.
Forget the running back.
Receivers
Deshaun can
will
be
come.
that. Just the receivers are fine. Running
Right.
back crew is fine. I don't care about that. Get him an offensive line, please, for the love of God. Because
His career can end early. You're
yeah,
going to see an Andrew Luck situation if you
Yeah.
can't protect him.
yes, absolutely. I mean, the dude gets hit in such odd ways. He got kicked in the eye through his face mask last year. What?
And he still threw a touchdown.
And he
there.
still threw a TD. You know, you need to get this guy some help. And I
Yep.
think if you're the Colts, if you're a fan of the Colts, I think here's the one thing you need to take to the bank. You need Phillip Rivers to be a game manager.
Mhm.
Be a game manager, make the right passes, and get Jonathan Taylor going. That dude is a freak of nature.
He's really good.
Get him touches. You know, the dude, 16 attempts, 83 yards with a touchdown, 5.2 a carry. And I would say Naheem Hines. Get them both going. Run the football.
It's a great one, too.
Run the football if you're the Colts. And
Yeah.
be good with that.
The Colts could be one of those like Titans teams once they enter the playoffs.
They
where
figure out what they're trying to do.
They just started running the football well like last week.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're like, oh my god, we have a running game.
Oh, yes.
And now that helps that defense out a lot. That's already full of talent, like top flight talent. This team could be very, very scary going into the playoffs. And I don't think anyone's really going to expect it. I think whoever walks into the either, I mean, they're not going to walk into the Colts place, but like anyone who versus the Colts that first round, I think at this point it is, I'm really curious. It would be Tennessee. No, it wouldn't. It would be Pittsburgh. Colts win that game.
Yeah, they do.
Colts win that game, I think.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, at this point it would be Pittsburgh, and I think the Steelers, Juju will do his dance on that U,
He's pissing me off.
or not on that U. He'll do it in the
He's
middle of the U.
starting to get into that realm of Drew Lock for me, where he just pisses me off. He's so annoying. How about you stop dancing and you catch the damn football, bro? Catch the damn football, dog. How about that? Stop dancing and doing all that shit.
We'll get there.
Catch the football,
We'll
bro.
get there. We'll get there.
Dang, man.
Colts are looking scary towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if they didn't go 12-4 to end the year.
very well could. I think that's very possible.
All right, let's hop over to Eagles Cardinals. Nobody cares about the Cardinals. No one cares if they won. I don't care if they won. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
This is his second game that he exploded.
Dude,
frankly.
22 for 44, 338 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's gross.
He had over 400 all-purpose yards,
Yeah.
3 touchdowns. That defense didn't help
No.
against Kyler Murray. I thought that them having Jalen Hurts would maybe help them understand, like, oh, well, okay, well now we understand what Kyler was going to be a little bit like. Nah, they couldn't stop him. They couldn't stop Kyler Murray for their lives. And the Eagles need help running the ball outside of Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Because Miles Sanders ran the ball 6 more times than Jalen Hurts did and got 1 more yard. So, not to mention you had negative 10 yards on one play. I don't even know how that happened. But the Eagles, now it's like you're almost mad if you're the Eagles GM, because now you're like, well, what the hell do we do now? Because now it's looking like, okay, well, if Jalen Hurts ends this season on a high note, right? Next 2 games, he either worst case scenario for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts takes you to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Worst case.
Yeah.
Because now you gotta wonder, what are we gonna do with Carson Wentz? Are we gonna trade him? Or are we gonna trade him on the condition that he takes a pay cut?
That's my question.
Will he take a pay cut?
What do you do with Carson Wentz?
He's not happy right now. Me? What do I do with him?
What do you do with Carson Wentz?
It depends on what we see the next 2 weeks. Because I didn't think this was gonna happen.
You're not going to see him in the next 2 weeks.
No, not from him in the next 2 weeks. From Jalen Hurts the next 2 weeks. If Jalen Hurts plays the way he's been playing the next 2 weeks, you gotta try and trade him. You gotta try and get rid of him. You gotta try and offload that cap space. You gotta try and offload that stuff.
I think we might have seen the last game for Carson Wentz in the Eagles.
Because then you get more money to pay other guys. Maybe you can get something better than some lawn chairs to throw to.
Yeah. The only tricky thing is that I don't know if there's many teams that are willing or equipped to deal with that cap hit.
I think you would have to have some sort of situation where, all right, if we agree to trade you,
almost like a sign and trade in a sense.
Right, you have to agree to restructure your deal, Carson.
Sure.
Or you're going to sit on the bench.
And he already said he doesn't want to be a backup. So.
Right, exactly. So I think I don't think he cares about the money at this point. I think he collected his paycheck. He's like, all right, well now my career is at risk. I need to go to a place and prove that I'm worth something. And I think a place with a good O-line, some good coaching, like New England, like a Denver.
Hey, I would take Carson Wentz.
These would be good places that he could land.
Maybe I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, you guys got some lawn chairs up in New England too, so I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
Maybe you should work on your pitch to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Come on, Deshaun.
But I think it's going to be very interesting to see because right now he's the fun news story of the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
How's he going to play? How's he going to do? Kids are playing with him in Madden right now. They're like putting up 500 yards a game with Jalen Hurts right now because they're having the ball. They're like, oh, man, this is the one that we want to watch. This is the one we want to do. The next 2 weeks, the Philadelphia Eagles play. I believe it's 2 NFC East teams. I think they finish off the season that way. Yep. Dallas and Washington.
I can see them losing both of those.
I can see them losing. However, if Jalen Hurts lights up Dallas because Dallas' defense is bad.
As long as he performs, even if they lose, he's
and
good.
if he plays average at best against Washington, Carson Wentz can kiss his whole career with with Philadelphia goodbye.
I agree. I think he already should. I think it's done for him. I really do.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to pat myself in the back or anything like that, but I kind of predicted this.
You did, actually.
5 or 6 weeks ago.
You did.
Kind of predicted this. And actually, not even 5 or 6, 2 weeks ago when Billy was here, we talked about Carson Wentz, and I said the same thing. At what point in time is his terrible play not going to be excused by the lack of things he has around him? At what point in time is it Carson Wentz?
I think this experiment for Philly quickly went from experiment to see how our young quarterback is
So we might have
to
something. Yeah, I would exactly
I think they were
right.
expecting Jalen Hurts
Yep.
to go out, make a bunch of mistakes, throw a bunch of picks, lose them the rest of their game, and say, oh well, now we have a good draft pick.
Yeah.
But now he's I mean he didn't beat the Cardinals, but he played pretty damn well.
Agreed.
So let's hop over to the game of the week. The New York Jets versus the LA Rams.
Oh my goodness. We both picked the Cardinals last game, by the way.
And we
We both picked the Rams.
we did.
I don't know. Listen, I think we can keep this pretty brief and pretty quick. The Jets are so bad they can't even win at losing. They can't even be the best at losing, which they're the best at. They can't even lose right. That's how bad they are. They can't even lose right.
So the way I think about it is, Sam Darnold. I was telling my brother,
He's jumping for joy right now. I got a job next year. I got a
he's got a
job
job
next
with
year.
somebody. I don't know if it's with New York, but he's definitely got a job somewhere. Because he's not the issue in New York.
No.
But I mean, when you have the type of quarterback talent that's in that draft right now, you can't not jump for it.
Of course.
But I think the decision just became a lot more difficult because it's like, okay, now do we take Justin Fields or do we keep Sam Darnold?
Right.
Or do we hope the Jaguars win a game at some point?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
which I don't think they will.
because you have to think about it, Sam Darnold's auditioning for a new job during these games.
Yep.
He isn't giving crap if the Jets get Trevor Lawrence. He doesn't want the Jets to get Trevor Lawrence because he wants it to be as difficult for them as possible. The coach, I think he's getting fired.
Yeah.
So he's trying to show something on film for like an offensive coordinator position, quarterback coach, something along those lines. Nobody in that organization, Frank Gore, he's gonna retire at the end of the year. He doesn't
Probably.
care. No one in that organization other than GM and ownership really
Cared that
cares
they
about
won.
that.
Yeah.
Right. They're the ones who are like, no, oh my god.
They were probably crying
I
yesterday.
can't believe this.
They were
Unless they're happy because they're the worst run organization in the NFL.
They might have been doing
They might
jumping
be like,
jacks too.
yeah, we got one.
Yeah.
Oh no, you just lost the best NFL prospect
Probably in the past 10 years.
in the past, I would say 20.
Oof.
Prospect. I'm not saying he's gonna be
Right,
great
of course.
in the past 20 years, but I mean, Pat Mahomes, he wasn't a great prospect.
No.
No one wanted him. Everyone passed on him. Lamar Jackson wasn't a great prospect. He was quick, but everyone was like, "Oh, you can't play quarterback."
Yeah, they're telling you wide receiver. Yeah.
Right. I think the only two you can compare him to is Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. Two
And I
of
would
the
even-
best prospects
Yep.
in NFL history.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence is up there.
If you're an LA Rams fan, you need to be nervous because this could have just been the catalyst for your season to just go to shit. It really could have. This should not happen.
No.
This should not happen. And people are talking about the LA Rams potentially going to a Super Bowl this year. And they just lost to the New York Jets. That's gone.
Yep.
They're not going there this year. No, not after that. Absolutely not. Listen, that offense looked abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. I feel like I could go play for that team yesterday. It was bad, but
The Rams are one of those teams that kind of like the Seahawks scare me a bit because they can lose to the worst team,
they can also win.
but they can also beat
Win
the
with the
best
best,
team.
yeah.
Right. So are they gonna? Because they're gonna be a wild card team. Are they gonna be? Are they gonna have 4 straight great games and win a Super Bowl? Or are they gonna have one good game early on and then get lost in the divisional round?
I just don't think Jared Goff is that guy. He's just a guy. He's not the guy.
Because right now the Rams would verse the Washington football team in the playoffs.
That'll be a defensive matchup there.
Depending on who starts at quarterback there, and also depending on who wins that division.
Right.
No one really knows at this point. It could be the Eagles. It could be the Jets. The Giants. It could be the football team. Can't be the Cowboys. I don't think. No, it can't be the Cowboys. It could be any 4 of them. The Rams. I mean, they lost to the Jets.
Yeah.
They could lose.
Yes, they
and
could.
then if they win that game, they would verse a top flight team because, I mean, the NFC is no joke other than the NFC East.
Right.
So, the Rams need to be concerned. They need to figure out what their consistency issue is.
Yep.
Is it with their running game? Is it with their passing game? Is it with that defense? I don't think it's the defense. Defense is pretty solid.
Yep.
But what are you going to do to fix it?
Right.
Sean McVay is a young head coach. Get to your players, make sure
That's
that
the
they
key.
get their
What do
thing
you do
going.
to fix it?
Right.
Okay, let's go Chiefs Saints.
Chiefs Saints. This was a fun one to
I
watch.
picked the Chiefs.
I picked the Chiefs as well. This one was not as close as the scoreboard looks.
No.
The Saints were down 10 points, I believe, going into like their last drive of the game.
Yeah.
Where it was a long shot that they would win.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Chiefs kind of showed why they are the best team in football right now
Bro.
by a pretty heavy margin.
That boy Patrick Mahomes, bro.
He's so good.
He is so stupidly good. For the people watching at home, the reason why the Buccaneers can't beat the Saints is the exact reason why the Chiefs beat the Saints. Patrick Mahomes probably avoided, I would literally say probably 10 sacks that he should have got sacked.
They couldn't get to him.
And he was just escaping. He was making plays that should not have been made. And that's why the Chiefs are the best team in football. When you have a quarterback that is literally your get out of jail free card, and he's the best quarterback in the league, it's just so stupid. It's a cheat code. And if the Saints can't beat them, nobody can. The Saints, I think, matchup-wise, are one of the best teams to face.
Sure.
In terms of beating them.
I agree.
And if they can't beat them,
I think the only team that could keep up with the Chiefs is the Bills, because that
defense has to play lights out, though.
the defense is young. I think they can keep up with Pat Mahomes to an extent. Nobody can eliminate him or keep up with him.
That's the thing. How long can you hold out? That's the real question.
But also, that offense can keep up with Patrick Mahomes, I think. They have a lot of really good talent on that team. I think they could keep up in a shootout. Because the Chiefs' defense and the Bills' defense are kind of similar in that, where, I mean, the Chiefs have a few more stars, but the Bills' defense is the one that's playing really well right now.
It's a bend but don't break kind of mentality.
Exactly.
I'd say.
So I think that would be a shootout that would go to like 40 points.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to like what the Browns and Ravens were last week. If they were to face each other in the playoffs, which I think they will, it's gonna be very interesting to see.
And T's and P's to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Hopefully you're okay.
Yeah, and
That
Le'Veon took a spill at the end of that game.
I think he's okay.
Okay.
I think he just kind of got shook up a little bit. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, hopefully everything's okay. That looked disgusting.
The Bills, the Chiefs need you.
You got rolled up on bad, and hopefully you're all right because you're definitely a big part of that offense. But I say if you're the Saints, you need your offensive weapons healthy, and you got to use Alvin Kamara more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they've gotten away from him. And stop using Taysom Hill so damn much. He ain't that guy.
Yeah, well, one of the first plays of the game, they put him out at receiver.
It's so stupid. He got the first pass of the game.
Breeze threw a deep ball to him in like double coverage for no reason.
Sean Payton, screw you. Like, get off your high horse, bro. For real, no, he's really annoying as a coach. Because he tries to prove to everybody that he's this mastermind. Dude, Alvin Kamara is a top 5 running back in the league. No question. Why do you not use him? Get Peyton Hill off the freaking field. He isn't that guy. He's a special teams dude who can sometimes make a play offensively. Don't worry. Oh, wait. It's so annoying when people try to outsmart themselves. Like, bro, you're not that guy.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Because I really do believe if they used Alvin Kamara, they couldn't stop him. The Chiefs could not stop him. If they used Alvin Kamara more, they very well could have won this football game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at these stats here.
Alvin Kamara had 11 carries, 54 yards, 4.9 yards a carry.
And then out of the backfield, he had 3 receptions for 40 yards. Bro, he only touched the ball 14 times. That's not enough.
I agree.
He averaged 4.9 a carry.
Yep. You give him the ball more.
You give the ball 3 times as the first down.
Yep.
Like.
What makes up the word?
Yeah, okay, and then let's look at Taysom Hill. 2 attempts for 3 yards, 1.5 average. Awesome. Then let's look at him out of the passing. Oh.
2 targets, no catches?
Oh, wow. Couldn't have seen that one coming. Like, just stop. Just stop. Actually, do that against the Buccaneers. Maybe they'll have a chance. Because I would love to see the Saints get bounced. They're so annoying to me.
All right, let's hop to Sunday Night Football. This one, not much to say here. Browns,
this
Giants.
Is a snooze fest.
Browns played a really good brand of defensive football.
Yeah.
Baker played well, just enough, and the Giants couldn't do anything.
Giants hurting. I feel like they're on a downslide right now. They're hurting.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, you said everything I was going to say. It's Browns. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
A good recipe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good recipe.
I think
the food tastes good. It looks pretty appealing. Keep serving that.
I think they need to win one more game to really say, like, hey, we're in the playoffs, like, for sure.
I would agree.
I want to take a quick look. We can talk about the next episode. Let's hop over to Steelers Bengals. What?
I'll say one thing and one thing only, and I put this on my Twitter. Steelers fans, how y'all feeling today? Because if you're a Steelers fan, know this: your season just ended last night. It just ended last night. Why? Because if you cannot beat the Bengals and you can only put up 17 points, you're not going to beat the Ravens with that. You're not going to beat the Chiefs with that. You're not going to beat the Bills with that. And you're going to see one of those three teams at some point in time. If you can't, you're not going to beat Tennessee. You're not going to beat the Colts. You're not beating any of those 5 teams with that. And the Bengals are worse than all of those 5 teams. So let's do the math here. The Steelers season just ended last night.
Let me talk to our overlords at TikTok and Instagram. If there is a Steelers fan in your organization, ban Juju Smith-Schuster from both. Because after that, you might win some games.
Yeah, just maybe.
Because he's making a fool of himself.
He is.
He's making a fool of himself. In every aspect of the word fool,
Doubling-
is like dancing and prancing on people's logos
Doubling
with
down on
no
stupidity.
results.
Yeah.
And saying like, well, this is who I am. No, it's not. You're an NFL wide receiver.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't have fun.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
No.
If you score, have some fun. If you want to dance on your sideline, go ahead and dance on your sideline. Get the fam together. Get the receivers together. You guys can dance or whatever. But the second you start giving the other team bulletin board material, where in both games, Josh Allen said, all right, let them dance. Let them do their thing. Let's smack them in the mouth.
Yeah. I love it.
And the guy,
I love it.
And the guy on the Bengals, I can't remember what his name was. I think it was like Vance Knoll or something like that. Before the game, he says, if I see him dance on that logo, I'm gonna smack him in the mouth. And you know what he did? Juju caught his pass right over the middle, smacked him right in the face, fumbles the ball, turnover, return.
Yep. And
Like,
Juju, how about you stop dancing and you catch 3 of those balls that you dropped? Maybe you have more than 15 yards for the whole game. You know, and it's, you know, you double down on your stupidity, you're gonna look like a clown.
that's it.
And I'm sorry, you're looking like a clown.
I'm not one of those guys who's like, I don't like when people
Have
dance or
fun.
celebrate. Have
I
fun.
love it.
I loved when Cam Newton was doing his
Absolutely.
thing. He was scoring touchdowns, handing out balls to babies, doing the Superman, praising the Illuminati. Like, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. What do I care? You're having fun. The Vikings last year, when the team scored, they did duck, duck, goose.
Yeah.
They gave each other food.
I loved it.
Thanksgiving games. It's so much fun. If you score a touchdown, have fun. Do your thing. But don't dance on people's logos and then lose.
Yep.
Like, you look stupid.
And here's my thing, you know, if you're a Steelers fan, this game was really concerning. Because the Cincinnati Bengals had 230, you know, total yards. That's awful. Total yards for the game. To the Pittsburgh Steelers, 244 yards total for the game. And they lost by 10 points. That doesn't add up. And you look at, see, this is the thing, right? And this is where Pittsburgh, I think, is going to shoot themselves in the foot, outside of the fact that that offense sucks. But 2 fumbles and an interception. And a 25% conversion percentage on 3rd down.
Gross.
And 4 penalties compared to 2 on the other team.
You want to know why that happens? The 3rd down?
When you think you're better than what you are.
Well, they don't run the ball.
Mm.
That too. But they don't run the ball. They don't run the ball well. I'm going to give you a little quiz here. Don't
Yeah.
look.
Okay.
You can't check. What was the quarterback of the Bengals last night?
I just saw it earlier in the stats. It's I don't know his first name, but his last name is Finley. And you want to know, this is the epitome of this
Ryan
game.
Finley.
He's laying on the ground and the camera zooms in on him. He's smiling as he gets the 1st down. That was awesome. I love it. And it's cool to see the Pittsburgh fans get hit in the mouth.
Yeah.
Because it's we talked about this from week 6,
Sure.
week 7, even when they're undefeated. This Steelers team is not what you think it is.
Nope.
They were
false.
playing a lot of bad teams and barely winning. Now they're playing teams that actually know who they are, and they're getting their shit run, for lack of better terminology. They've dropped 3 straight games.
Yep.
And I could see them dropping another.
Yeah, hold on. Let me take a look. I want to see this. Because because we're getting to the point in the season right now where looking ahead is so interesting
Yep.
to see like playoff pictures and all that kind of stuff and how everyone's looking. Colts and Browns.
They could lose both those
They
games.
could lose both those games,
Yep.
and they just might. I think the Browns that last week of the season they're looking forward to that game because Baker's not one of those guys who wants a bye week.
Nope.
Don't sit Baker. And don't sit Nick Chubb. Don't sit Kareem
Yep.
Hunt. Maybe sit Nick Chubb, but
Roll.
don't sit Kareem Hunt.
Roll.
Let them roll.
Yep.
Let them punt. Because at this point, both of those teams better than the Steelers.
Agreed.
Because their offenses work even a little bit.
Yeah.
Both have running games. Both have moderately okay passing games. Defenses are playing sufficient.
Fairly well, right. Yeah, it's
Steelers looking rough. I'm
yikes.
so excited.
I am too. This is fun. But alrighty, y'all. That was it. We got it all covered. Heard a little rant from me. Yeah, you're gonna get angry.
Just one.
Yeah. I was
Just
like
a bunch.
2 or 3 today. I was getting pretty fired up. But yeah, that was it, guys. We'll see you guys back on Thursday. We'll go over our Week 14 picks, see who won, who lost the week, and then our Week 15 picks, and then we'll go into our Week 16 picks of the week, and we'll see what we did. But alrighty, y'all. Until next time, we'll see you later.